Machado. Drives into deep left field. Back, and that ball is gone. Grand slam for Xander Bogaerts. Drives one to center field. David Smith is back. Third home run of the night for Fernando. The trifecta for the Nando. Ground ball to shortstop. Kim will go to first. The San Diego Padres get their first no-hitter in the history of the franchise. And it belongs to San Diego's own Joe Musgrove. From El Paso, the San Diego kid.
And we are live. How's it going, everybody?
Everyone that was watching WardyNYM just left the stream, and I don't blame them. Mets fans, I'm sorry. I'm pissed off too. I don't blame you. This was the biggest series of the year heading into the All-Star break, and the Mets dropped 2 out of 3 to the Padres, losing by a final score today, 6-2. We have a lot to get into on this game. We're going to be reacting with you guys, the fans, and regardless of this result for us, we still got to go live here because we got a lot to talk about. I'm in SD. We've watched these games, Borna, and unfortunately, I'll let you start by taking things away. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe if you're watching on both of our channels on WardyNYM for the Mets and, of course, Hogwatch for the Padres. But, Hog, take it away.
Welcome, everybody, to the Hogwatch WardyNYM postgame collab series show. The Padres take the final series against the Metropolitans in the first half, defeat them 6-2 behind Manny Machado's 2-home run day, taking Mad Max deep not once, not 3 times, not 4 times, but twice. Slider, galore, and they were not the solo fashion. They were the 3-run blast and the 2-run blast. The Minister of Defense, don't look now, his batting average has creeped up to 261. And guys, I think we forgot to talk about this. Joe Musgrove, right? Remember that Mexico City start with, remember that 10.06 ERA? Well, how about now No Joe on the year, all right? No Joe, 3.29 ERA, 8-2. He had 0 walks. They sure he plunked 4 Metropolitans, 7 strikeouts.
5 Mets got hit today.
5 Mets got hit today. And the San Diego Padres improved to 43-47. This was a big swing game. Both teams heading into this day were 42-47. The Mets lose Tommy Pham to injury. Do you know the status with Tommy Pham?
We're hoping that we're going to find out a good update in the next day or so. But yeah, Mets, again, Hog was out here crying his little ass off game 1 when the Mets took it an extra 7-5. And now here we are as the Mets dropped 2 consecutive games, dropped their first series after winning multiple series in a row for the first time in forever. They were not able to keep that series win streak alive heading into 3 straight as they lose 2-3 to San Diego. And I got to go on a little rant here. And again, for people in the Hog Watch, I know you won't care as much, but we got to do it. Of course, shout out Wager Lab, our great sponsor that we'll get into shortly. But Max Scherzer just isn't it. He continues to prove that he is not going to be that big game pitcher that us Mets fans were hoping for. And again, we knew it was a stretch when the Mets initially signed him on that multi-year deal, just like Justin Verlander, the same applies. This is the risk that you take when you sign these guys to high AV short-term deals that are in their later 30s, basically 40 already. And Mad Max just got barreled by a fantastic home run hitter in Manny Machado, not once but twice today. But again, Max home run galore. He gave up at least 3 bombs, if I'm not mistaken, in his last start. It was a win still, thankfully, against the D-backs because the Mets had a lot of offense there, but he's been getting barreled absolutely ridiculously. Max, when he's on, when he has a slider, when he has a movement, you're looking great. But when he's hanging pitches, which he has done plenty this year, that is not good. And this Mets rotation, again, they still have their inconsistencies. The offense, too, I hated the lineup today. To not like it one bit. And then Tommy Pham, arguably the Mets' hottest hitter outside of Francisco Lindor and Francisco Alvarez, was not in the lineup after playing a ball on a Ha-Seong Kim single to start the game because he was out due to injury. I mean, it was a recipe for failure. This Mets game was pretty much over before it even started. I mean, I'm sorry, but DJ Stewart starting in the DH is a great example of where this Mets team is at right now. And now they're back to, 5-6 games below 500. This schmuck to me is feeling himself as he should. But point stands, this Mets team, again, they had the opportunity to take a 3rd consecutive series to roll into the All-Star break, just a couple games below 500. Now that's going to be in the Padres' favor. 2 teams competing for these wild card spots. And now for anyone that had optimism with the Mets now we're going to have to deal with this nonsense for a little bit now with the All-Star break. Of course, right now, if you're watching, the MLB draft is going on, which is exciting. Not exciting for the Mets because they don't have a top pick right now. I think their first pick is like 31st or 32nd. I could be wrong. And then we have the home run derby tomorrow. Alonso will be partaking in that. That's awesome, at least. Then the All-Star game. But then the Mets and Padres, we don't have games until as we get into the weekend. So us Mets fans, we're not going to be happy for the next couple days, all things considered. And look through the numbers today. Again, Mad Max was absolutely putrid today. I'm least bit shocked by that, especially on the road. He has been struggling with his on and off from home to away at times.
Can I say something about the Mets real quick?
Please do.
It's interesting, Chad, and we'll get into our donos here in a sec. Welcome to the Postgame Show. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Wardy if you're watching on the Hog Watch. Steve Cohen obviously has committed a lot of money. But when you commit this much money, what is it, $80 million combined a year to your starting pitchers, Scherzer and Verlander, you need them to be good. There are teams with the payroll of less than what the Mets. The Tampa Bay Rays are basically paying their team less than what Cohen pays Verlander and Scherzer. And when those guys aren't getting it done, it's really tough to be a really good team.
And here's the issue. The Mets are in the spot where they know that they're able to find short-term success from players in free agency while still building their farm. That's why they made these decisions, right? There isn't a long-term commitment, which is the one positive to take away from this as they're trying to build this farm system still. However, the risks were always there. And after you lose Jacob deGrom, and now Jake's, of course, out for the next year and a half, so that doesn't really sting for us Mets fans, right? But for losing the pieces of the rotation that the Mets have lost last year, see how they're doing, it really hurts. Like, the Mets would kill to have a Seth Lugo even in their rotation right now. The Mets wouldn't mind having even a Trevor Williams with him and even his lack of consistency this year at times with the Nationals. Taijuan Walker, who again isn't great, but Chris Bassett, who has definitely been solid for the Blue Jays. Like, these are all guys that are still innings eaters and are being productive. And the Mets' two-headed horsemen at the top of the rotation, Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer, are just continuing to prove that they're not the guys that are going to be able to get it done. And they are a prime example of the biggest issue with this Mets club this year, and is giving up the home run ball. The Mets are one of, if not the worst team in all the National League, and giving up said home run ball. It's going to continue to be their demise, and again, to have TJ McFarland pitching today shows you how much this Mets team lacks depth in the bullpen. Grant Hartwig had a huge double play on Tatis to end a bases-loaded jam. Love Grant Hartwig. He has a sub-1 ERA since being called up. The guy started in single A last year, went through every minor league level, and now he's at the bigs, and it has he's killing it in like his first 10 innings of his major league career. But a lot of frustration in Mets land, to say the least. And normally I'd be ranting my head out, but it's like, we know this. You know, it was great to finally get a winning streak. It could be worse for sure. But my expectations have been so low. I've been blindly hopeful. You know, I've been cautiously optimistic, to say the least. And as this Mets team now sits 5-6 games below 500 heading into the All-Star break, who knows what's going to happen post-All-Star break? They have the Dodgers as their next matchup, which I'm so excited to be watching that and potentially partaking in.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, ask me a question. Go ahead.
Can you respectively shut the fuck up now?
Oh, fuck you. Go ahead.
Chirping.
I'm chirping.
Hey, Padres fans, this guy just wouldn't shut up, huh? Just trying to be respectful. Let's talk about the star of today's game. All right? This guy, Joe Musgrove, 3.28 ERA. Blake Snell, Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha. If I were to tell you that Yu Darvish was going to be the weak link of this Padres rotation, I would have cried and showered you with glitter saying that this team is going to win 180 bajillion games this year. And that's why it's been such an anomaly. Joe Musgrove was so great once again tonight. Let's get into some of these super chats. Fam went to Pacers after that first game. That's what Aaron's saying. Thomas, thanks so much for the 13 saying, sup, Hog and Wardy. I keep telling you guys to keep the faith, Hog. As much shit as we had to swallow, second half at least looks optimistic. Let's effing go, San Diego. Wardy, safe trip back home. Maybe we meet in the playoffs again. I mean, it's tough. We're 90 games in, Thomas. Thank you so much for the 13 months. Thank you so much for your support.
90 already?
It goes. I remember the first game of the year. We were streaming and we lost to the Colorado Rockies. And who did you guys play? Marlins.
Marlins, yeah.
And it was, that felt like yesterday, chat. So, Thomas, I agree, and we'll see. This should be an interesting second half. Huge series coming up against the Phillies and other teams. Thanks for the 5, Maddie, saying Machado is the secret sauce to our success. Hog, do you have any insight on a Soto extension, or is he happy to test free agency? Number one, Maddie, Machado is the secret sauce to our success. Absolutely. I think when Manny Machado's going, the power team goes. Thank you so much for the dono. And, about Soto, I have no idea. If you want to, bet that Soto is going to re-sign with the Padres, you can probably get good odds at our good sponsors. Where, Wardy?
That is at Wager Lab. For those that don't know about Wager Lab, they are a great sponsor that we have specifically for this series, which is so sick. So happy to have them on for our respective channels. If you're watching WardyNYM, you can click the link in the live chat that's pinned right now or in the description down below to sign up, or use your iPhone. Use that QR code that they have right there, and you can sign up right away. What is so cool about Wager Lab that Borna and I are absolutely ecstatic to have them on as a sponsor is that you can compete with your friends. It is peer-to-peer betting. So game 1, for example, Borna had the Padres money line. He sends it to me, and I automatically have to take the Mets money line. Just on text. You send it to each other like a normal text, and that's it. You go over and under on runs through say 5 innings or whatever the picks it's going to be. I took our first 2 out of 3 wagers in both games 1 and 2. Today, however, Borna clean sweeped me and took all 3. So Borna came out riding high, and thankfully I took 2 out of 3 in the first 2 days. But again, we absolutely love this sponsor. You got to make sure to check them out because, again, it's one of those things where it's so fun to compete with friends, especially if you're, say, a fan of an opposing team. He's a Padres fan. He's a schmuck. I'm a Mets fan. I, too, equally am a schmuck. So I'm always taking the Mets money line even when I know that they aren't playing great. He's always going to take the Pads even when the Pods when they're not playing great. And all you got to do, again, is sign up by clicking the link in our respective descriptions in the live chats or scanning that QR code. It is so that easy, folks, to sign up today. And once again, shout out Wager Lab for being a great sponsor on WardyNYM and the Hogwatch.
I was going to add to that, but this guy is a better salesman than Al Capone. All right, you got an absolute G.
Thank you.
Sexy when I hear your voice. Guys, here's the deal, all right? It's been a roller coaster first half for both of these organizations, right? The New York Mets have been a team, and the Padres of such triumph and a lot of tribulations. The Mets, their MO has been their starting pitching, right? Their bullpen has had a lot of issues this year. And the San Diego Padres, their issue has been their inconsistent offense. It's crazy that both of these teams are in very similar situations record-wise, but their stories couldn't be any more different. Right? The New York Mets are a team that, actually is getting a lot of production from some of their top prospects in Francisco Alvarez and Brett Beatty, a little bit from a guy, Mark Vientos, but they're not getting the production from some of their key cogs at the front of their rotation. right? And the San Diego Padres, on the other hand, is kind of their mid guys in Jay Cronenworth, Trent Grisham, and I know some guys like Xander Bogaerts, they're not getting their production, but for the Padres, it's been so inconsistent. But that's the beauty of baseball, right? This is why I attract to baseball so much, is that money cannot buy you success. Money just can't buy you success.
No, and we've learned that, and unfortunately,
I think the most in baseball. Wouldn't you say so? Out of like NBA, NFL, and MLB, what would you say?
Yeah, no, I mean, especially, not to get on a tangent, but especially in the Mets case, because it's a unique circumstance. It's not like they're the Padres where they're throwing out these lifetime contracts to everyone in the key in the order in their offense, which is their biggest issue right now this year. But more than anything, for the Mets, it's like trying to find short-term solutions when there's clear risk, when we always saw the risk, and you're just hoping and banking that JV can be that guy that was somewhat similar to Wayne the Cy Young last year. That Max Scherzer can, be sitting to right around a 3 or so ERA and stay healthy. We just have not seen those things, and I don't foresee a reason to feel any different anytime soon. And this is a great example for teams going forward that, again, are trying to find short-term success under new ownership. I love Steve Cohen and everything he's done, but again, the point still stands. This is something easier said than done. You might have a great team on paper, but whether that amounts to success or not, consistent success, is the farthest thing from the truth per se. And the Padres are a great example of that this season, regardless of them taking 2 out of 3 from the Mets here, because you've already kind of ran them off. You want them to sell still, don't you?
Yeah, I still do. And I'm going to be honest, guys, and I know a lot of us say not so. I wouldn't say sell completely, but do you really think that this Padres team would have a lot more worse of a record if Blake Snell wasn't in their starting rotation? I don't really think so. I mean, I think guys like Musgrove, Waka, Lugo have been so great. Maybe they don't have the starting pitching depth, but that's not, Snell, whoever's fault. That's AJ Preller's fault for having a top-heavy team. But if you were to tell me that you can cash in on a guy in Blake Snell who you're probably not going to re-sign. Listen, Carlos Rodon got 6 years, $162 million from the New York Yankees last year. He had some injury issues. He's a southpaw. He's the same age, and he has the same agent. Plus with the CBT going up, plus with inflation, are you telling me that Blake Snell, Scott Boras, and company aren't going to ask for 6 years, $162 for his exact same client who's coming off, in my opinion, the biggest all-star snubbery of the MLB campaign, a guy who has a 2.83 ERA, a guy who has a 0.45 ERA since May 15th, a guy who's a double-digit strikeout guy. You're telling me that he's not going to want a ton of money with the Padres organization that's tied up money to Darvish, Musgrove, and company? You have to consider pulling the trigger if you don't think you're going to re-sign him. Even a guy like Josh Hader. So I'm not saying sell the farm, sell the house, but you got to cash in on those two guys.
And speaking of cashing in and if we should sell, the same goes for Padres fans. Everyone starts spamming in Hogs chat right now. Do you want the Padres to buy or sell? Again, I know that we're still multiple weeks away from truly making that decision. I know a lot of you Pods fans are probably happy to see them take 2 out of 3 from, at the time, a hot Mets team, finally getting on a roll for the first time this season. And the same applies for you Mets fans that are watching here at WardyNYM, live or in the comments below on replay. Start spamming the chat. Do you want the Mets to sell? Do you want them to buy? What do you want them to do this year at the trade deadline? Because as we stand right now, I'm still under the firm belief that they should be far more of a seller, recoup assets, and readdress things in the offseason, which we know Steve Cohen will do everything he physically can to rectify this team and make them better for 2024. Again, would I love to see the Mets get on a run and be competitive this year? Is there still plenty of baseball left? Absolutely. But where we stand right now, 90 games into the season, this is a Mets team that should not be in full buy mode.
Michael said, thanks for the 5 hog. My coworker said that the Mets would sweep us. Guess he was wrong. I guess he was wrong. But, I still think, Tyler and I talked about this. It's going to go down to the finish line depending on what these teams are going to decide to do.
It's going to be, I unfortunately think it's going to be a little too last minute. I could see at least one of the teams.
That hurts both of us.
Right. And I don't think it's going to bode well. I don't. I have concerns. I really do.
Newsflash, the Marlins ain't losing. The Dodgers ain't losing.
Fucking Marlins.
The Phillies are, guys, it's not at this point in the year, of course you want to focus on yourselves, but you got to start looking at the standings as well to make decisions. Okay, we got some big donos to get to because people are supporting.
Yeah, shout out everyone donating on the Hog Watch. You guys are absolute beauties. Everyone that's donating on WardyNYM too, thank you so much. Always appreciate it, folks.
Robert, $50 donation. Nice series win. Let's fucking go San Diego. Guys, Robert and now Wardy has gone to learn that is a huge supporter of the Hog Watch. Driving around the country to Texas to and from. Robert, thank you so much for the support. This was a nice series win. I feel so bipolar with this Padre team this year. A lot of people say, oh, here comes Hog, the roller coaster. My always response is, you know what? I'm just a reflection of the team.
I was just going to say that. You took the words out of my mouth. You are the San Diego Padres. From being with this man day and night, for a number of days now since I flew down here.
Tell him I'm not bullshit.
He is not bull. He is unequivocally unapologetically him. I mean, what you see is what you get from Morna. So when it comes to the emotions, the highs and the lows, he is this Padres team in a nutshell, which means a lack of consistency. And as a Mets fan, I certainly can relate in that regard. Thank you so much for a donation. Blybeer says, screw the Padres and Chincho Musgrove. That's stupid. We're not getting over the ear shit. I know Pods fans are going to go bananas with that. I didn't even not go on a tangent with that last year in playoffs because it was unnecessary.
Yeah!
And there he is.
You like my ear? Yeah!
Bang! But thank you for the donation, though. I appreciate that. Any more remarks on your team and how you feeling heading the All-Star break now?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Robert, again, thank you so much for your gracious donation and your support of the channel. I just want to say really quick, the reason Wardy and I are able to do this every day for a living is because of your guys' incredibly gracious support of our channels. Not even just donating, but just being in here every day with us. Imagine
it's so much fun.
The reason we do this every day and we want to do this every day is because we're able to interact with y'all. So the fact that you guys are donating and allowing us to keep the train moving, paying the bills, keeping the lights on, and talking about our favorite team, shit, man, it can't get better than that, huh?
No, it can't. Here's the thing. Even in losses, I cannot begin to tell you how grateful I am to be covering this team. Seriously, I mean, Hog has been absolutely blowing up over the past year since we first met with his platform. He's growing something absolutely magical, and I know he has a huge dono to get into, but I just want to say the same applies here. I mean, win or lose, I'm so grateful for this community, and we're just getting started. They do not know what's happening behind the scenes. We're growing something very special here, and you guys need to buckle up and get ready for it.
This guy was just featured in the New York Post with John Heyman in an article a few months ago. Do you guys want to talk about the independent future meter? Let me talk about John Jackson with the 100 bingo Benjamin Franklin, however you want to name-o, Dalla Holla. Wow. Bombs alert. Ice cream on me tonight.
Yeah, it is on you.
Hopefully I'm just not buying ice cream for you, but shit, my phone hasn't rang. Sorry, Dad, I know you're watching. You always want the ones you can't get, Dad, huh? Love that MLB says Tatis is not an all-star. Haha, this guy is coming out hot in the second half as a top 5 tool player in the game. John, first of all, you are an incredible man. Thank you so much for your donation. And I love each and every one of you guys equally. Donations, no donations, thank you. Going to Fernando Tatis Jr. I don't think he cares at this point. This is a guy that this motivation is going to help him even more. If Fernando Tatis Jr. wasn't an all-star this year, when is he going to be an all-star? I think he has to put it behind him, accept that he made a mistake, and his legacy is going to be predicated on can he help his team win a World Series.
He'll be an all-star again.
He will be an all-star again. Sure. It's still fresh. It's still new.
Right.
But if he's going to lose sleep because he doesn't have a little star next to his name on Baseball Reference,
No, he can't.
He's got bigger problems to have.
Right, exactly.
He has 325 million reasons to smile. He's got every dime in the city of San Diego coming for those El Nino dreadlocks. He's got an 880 OPS. He's a top 5 tool player. He guns runners out from right field. He's a 35-plus home run guy. He's a 90 RBI guy. He can swipe 30 bags. You got bigger problems, John. It doesn't matter. So I know it sucks that we don't get to see our guy in the All-Star game, but hey, would you rather see him host a trophy in the gas lamp when you're parading with me on Thanksgiving on November 17th, 2023? Thank you so much for the dono.
Us Mets fans feel the exact same way about both Lindor and Nimmo being snubbed, and especially Lindor. I know he had a horrendous defensive game yesterday, but point still stands. Lindor should, in fact, be an all-star right now. I can't get over the fact that Perdomo is in over him. That's beyond me. But again, I've cared so little about the voting, really not only with all-star, but even with Gold Glove, and I know Pods fans, you can agree to this, is I can't get over still Juan Soto getting a Gold Glove last year. Ever since that happened when he was in the 1 percentile and outs above average, literally one of the worst defensive outfielders in the game in the corner last year. I mean, it doesn't matter who's doing the voting. It doesn't matter if it's from the fans that we're seeing in MLB voting, which is still its own problem that we see with All-Star. It doesn't matter if it's the writers, which are not only terrible for Gold Glove, but they're also terrible that we see when it comes to the Hall of Fame voting, which I won't get on that tangent. I just, I'm.
How is Barry Bonds not in the Hall of Fame?
Don't get me started. Do not get me started. Me and Rec went back and forth on this. My co-host, former Anthony Recker. Rec feels very strongly about one way, and I feel very strongly about another. We're not going to reach a middle on that one. That's fine. Point stands. So there's always people that get snubbed no matter what it is, and unfortunately, it is what it is. So we move.
I want to take a quick look at our fans about the Padres offense today, guys. Listen, I want to say one thing. Wardy hated me when I said this. Wardy was mad that Francisco Lindor was snubbed from the All-Star game. You want to know who was snubbed from the All-Star game? Ha-Seong Kim. second in the National League in F4 It's because his defense. That bat is coming around. That bat is faster than light. I could not have been more wrong about Ha-Seong Kim.
You have been wrong about Ha-Seong Kim.
He's so good.
No, he's very good. He's very underrated. I give you
this guy thinks Lindor and his .235 batting average.
Don't even get me started on average.
And his shitty defense.
Yesterday. He's still 91st percentile.
Ha-Seong Kim's nuts. He's nuts.
Kim is good, but they're in two different classes. Don't even compare them. Don't even. We're not doing this.
Soto, whatever. But as you said, John and Rob and everyone, when Machado's going right, that's good for the Padres. How cooked is X Bogarts? How cooked?
Oh my God! Yeah, 11 more years, baby. Enjoy him, San Diego. That's hilarious, dude. He hasn't been the same since he got hit in the wrist, right? Is that what this boils down to? Yeah, I mean, if the Braves,
Musgrove looks great, Walt.
If there's one thing that both Mets and Padres fans can relate with this year, it's that having a top player in the roster not being the same since getting drilled by a heater in the wrist from an Atlanta Brave. For the Mets, it was Charlie Morton throwing a 97 heater in on the wrist to Pete Alonso. And for Xander Bogaerts, it was taking a heater from Spencer Strider, correct?
Yeah.
So thank you for that, Atlanta. It's nice to see that you've continued to not contribute or be any help whatsoever. And their World Series are bust. If the Braves don't win the World Series this year, it's the biggest joke imaginable. Biggest joke. They're too good. They're too good. Same way the Dodgers were too good last year, too. And what happened? What happened with those Dodgers last year, Borna? Enlighten me.
Cronenworth to center field. LSD, thank you so much for your donation to WardyNYM. What's up? Been a bit anyways. Go Braves.
See, this is what I mean. I have so many Braves fan followers that either love to revel in Mets losses or they just enjoy me for whatever reason. So I appreciate the donation. LSD, thank you very much for that.
Anyways, guys, listen, that is the first half for both of these teams. Remember, we're about to wrap it up, but I want to tell you guys one more time. We want to say this, guys. We want to keep doing this. We want to keep, going all in on our YouTubes and pursuing this. And we've been able to do so because of your guys' support. Even if that means y'all grabbing your phones out, scan the QR code, it helps me and this guy live our dreams. And we want to be the faces of these teams. We want to be the face of coverage. And we want to give you guys the independent, authentic outlet to do so. And helping us out with our sponsors can go such a long way. So we really appreciate you guys helping out and signing up with Wager Lab. I'm trying to say this, guys. It's been a really interesting year for both these teams. And now it's kind of time for the stretch run. We're going to obviously probably do some collaboration for the trade deadline coming up here in a few weeks. We'll each have our...
we both have a lot of trade deadline content.
We have some trade deadline content. The beef, and then we'll get into Wardy's dono. When Manny is playing well, Padres play well. He is our captain. He is proving it even more with this full roster. So that's great. I just don't know. It's too late. It's too late.
You think it's too late?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame you. Again, we feel the same way.
They got to be 105 win pace to get in.
CJ, thank you for the donation. I won't address that up, but I appreciate the donation. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, no, we're both in the same exact boat in that front. I mean, the Mets even winning 6 straight games, as awesome as that was. Now they drop 2 and they go from being, only 4 back to 6 back. And again, all it takes is a big run to really kind of make you feel not only a certain level of confidence in a club, but to actually, show some optimism. Say, hey, okay, maybe, just maybe, this team is really going to snap out of it. And how these teams perform and look heading out of the All-Star break is going to be unbelievably vital for both respective clubs. Because, again, it is ridiculous how eerily similar yet different these teams have been this year when it comes to the standings and the similarity part and the difference in how they're losing. I still cannot get over. Again, Padres got huge hits from one of their main guys in Manny today, and I commend Manny and the Padres for that. However, this is something where you look at the top of their order and then you look at the bottom of their order. I just can't get over Game 1 when the Mets won. You had Gary Sanchez, you had Dixon, you had Grish, you had Crony, you had at least one other guy. Matt Batten. I mean, everyone, just guys that are not it. I want to know one question, then we'll wrap things up here in a minute, Borna. Do you think the Padres and Preller are going to really prioritize trying to deepening this lineup? And if so, how? Is there any names that come to your mind?
Ask that question one more time while I get that name up.
Okay. No. Oh, there you go.
What are you asking me, Tyler?
What player or players do you think could help deepen this Padres lineup should Preller decide to buy by the trade deadline? Oh, you know what? Old Redbeard. Mets fans will know that face well. The one that got away.
I really wanted the Padres to sign Justin Turner this past winter. This guy is 38 years old, going to be 39 November. All he does,
He's such a good hitter.
he just continues to hit.
Yeah.
And the Padres right now, by the way, he has 13 homers this year. Justin Turner is hitting 290. He's got 13 bombs, 52 ribs already, and is on pace for an 825 OPS.
He would look so good in DH right now. Oh. Hate to see it.
That was the guy I made videos wanting the Padres to sign.
I've talked about JT over the past couple of years too. Yeah, I mean
Boston's a
he can
mess.
still do it. Boston's a mess, but like a lot of batters really thrive there. I mean, if there's one
And he has 13 bombs with the monster.
with the monster, if there's one thing that you could say about Boston at least, like because they've had a lot of really questionable moves. I mean, Masataka Yoshida.
Yeah.
So good.
No, he's great.
No, he's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
And Jaron Duran's starting to break out for them too. They got pieces, but it's Boston still. They're in a tough spot right now. Better than the Mets, better than the Padres probably, but
Carpenter and Snell to the Cards for Goldie. I don't know why the Cardinals would want Blake Snell as a free agent. And Matt Carpenter, who is worth
the Cardinals?
Yeah.
No.
John, I love the $100 holla, but John, we got to be realistic here.
Cardinals need to do like a full rebuild at this rate or a huge retool.
But this is the name I'm going to make a video on here pretty soon. I really like this option for the Padres. He's a Southern California guy. He's from Long Beach. That's why he's with the Dodgers for a little bit. This is something that we really, really need to see potentially happen. So I guess we will find out. I guess we will see. But yeah, that's my name. But besides that, I don't think this team needs to add a ton offensively. They just need to get their guys to produce better. Besides that, Ty, is there anything else that you want to add from today's stream? Again, the Padres defeat the New York Mets 6-2. They take 2 out of 3. What were you saying?
No, I was saying that was cool.
Yeah, they take 2 out of 3 from the New York Metropolitans. The Mets fall to 42-48. The Padres improve to 43-47. Both teams are now heading off to the Pacific Northwest. A few players. Who are the Mets all-stars? Kodai. Who else? Is that it? Pete?
Kodai and Pete. Yep.
Kodai and Pete for the Padres. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Robert, my goodness gracious, this Robert Merrill guy, you gotta love him.
Robert
spoils the shit out of you.
Robert, I just hope you can take care of yourself. Sure you can. Robert, that is.
Get him to a game. That's what I think.
Robert, he doesn't even live in San Diego.
Well, when he's driving through, because he's a driver, right?
Robert, you coming to San Diego?
Yes,
we will take you to the terrace.
There you go.
Robert, bro. Now I definitely got to get Wardy his ice cream there, or else he's gonna be on me.
Yeah.
And I owe him. Robert, thank you so effing much for the $100, man. Crazy. Let's fucking go. San Diego Manny is getting hot, guys. Robert! Okay, just because of that dono, I know you're on your channel. Can we show the Machado bombs?
To make sure that they're like clipped in time. Where
I will. Hold this. While I get this. Can you thank Robert for support? Because me and you are.
No, I appreciate Robert. And again, the amount of donations and endless support I've gotten over the years means more to me than you guys will ever know. So I always appreciate and respect people that do that, regardless on whose platform and when they do them. But yeah, go ahead. You can just show one. You don't need to show both of them. All right. Go ahead. And watch this pitch placement by Max too. It's gonna be down. It's gonna be down and in.
Robert, this is for you. This is number 1.
Damn.
Machado to deep left, deep and far into the San Diego afternoon. There was a 3-run tater off Mad Max. Scherzer's been struggling with that slider. It hasn't been his classic slider. Rob, thank you, bro. Keep going.
It's so frustrating because he's had some starts this year where it has been absolute money. But again, the story of the Mets season, just like the Padres, is the lack of consistency. It just has not been there whatsoever. I mean, when he's not locating, we're cooked. We're absolutely cooked. I mean, thankfully, the Mets won their last start with Max when he was on the bump against the D-backs, a very good D-backs team that the Mets somehow managed to sweep in impressive fashion. But Kodai Senga won 8 innings of 1-run ball. Cookie won 8 shutty against the D-backs. The only starter that series that actually labored a little bit was Max. He gave up 3 absolute tanks, right? And it was back-to-back one of them, too. What?
Speaking of Max tanks.
Fuck you.
Machado again to deep right field, and his second blast of the day, his second off Scherzer, and the Padres go up a nickel.
Go back. Was that just a 95 here right down the dick? Oh my God. Look at you see how ridiculous this is? Mets season in a nutshell, right here. Frame it. Put it on the Lavore. Whatever you got, right. Can we get out of here? I'm ready for the All-Star break. MLB draft's on.
I do want to say one more thing, and before we wrap it up, and I know we're on both of our channels, and I know I got more of the donations today, but I want to say Tyler and I are just so incredibly grateful for. We don't want to. We were sitting at a beautiful restaurant looking at the water today, and we're like, how far we've come grinding here and wanting to do this. We are so blessed and so great seeing you guys in public, in person, and just being able to meet you guys and you guys' support of our communities is unbelievable. So we love you guys to our deaths. Seriously. By the way, you want some other news? Xander Bogaerts, he received his cortisone shot in his left wrist after today's game, finally. He said he doesn't anticipate needing another one the rest of the year. Looking forward to a nice second half, and I expect that out of myself. Bingo. We needed that. Awesome. Guys, we love you so much. Robert, all you guys donating, everyone donating to Tyler all the time. We appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. Go download Wager Lab. That helps more than you know.
More than you know.
Mom, Dad, I love you. Take care, everybody.